Good morning. Let's take a look at yesterday's Europa League, Europa Conference League. I didn't play anything yesterday. Let's see whether there was any opportunities to have a play. This is too tough to call for two Serie A sides. This was tough to call as well. Normally Bayer Leverkusen will be knocking it out of the park, which indeed they did yesterday, but it took them a very long time to do so. The reason I wouldn't have played this, even laying the draw second half, is quite simply, they're not going to be meeting these caliber sides in the Bundesliga every week. So despite knocking it out the park in the Bundesliga, when you're meeting a Premier League top 10 side, it's a different story. And indeed, yes, they were knocking on the door. 83rd minute. It took a very long time to break through, but that seems to be the recent modus operandi for Bayer. Exceptional season. And this was a good gauge of where they are under Xabi Alonso, beating West Ham with relative ease in the end. Benfica Marseille, well, looking at Marseille away from home, particularly in French League, you'd never be backing Marseille at all. Liverpool Atalanta. Now, why didn't I play this match? This is the problem we face in the Europa League. It's a completely different Liverpool side, so it's a completely different dynamic. And that can just knock the team off kilter. You've got Elliott out on the right to start with, Cody Gakpo on the left. Yes, the cavalry are there on the bench, and indeed he used them second half. But it's just disjointed. I wouldn't have played, and that's the way it was, I'm afraid. 0-1 to Scamacca. That would be a normal angle in, and indeed we started to see the trickle of substituted players coming on. But it's very disjointed yesterday, so I'm glad I sat this one out. Second leg, though, not a problem. You'll be with Liverpool all day long, second leg. We're looking at them score any other away scoreline, 4 goals or more. A good comeback from Fenerbahce against Olympiacos, again, a local derby of sorts, Greece against Turkey. Paulsen and Fiorentina, well, this would have been the second consecutive 0-0 for Paulsen. Really not interested. Good result for Aston Villa, as you'd expect under Unai Emery, who loves European competition. And Club Brugge, no interest. HJK, far too efficient. 1.4 favourite. Lost their opening match of the season. You're always pressured because you're expected to win the title. Always pressured in your second match to get a result, and indeed they did, straight out the blocks. 20 minutes, 2-0 by half time. Not really a 20-minute rule, because it's 1.44. This is the expectation for HJK followers this season. So watch out in the Finnish Veikkausliiga. So yesterday, came out of it unscathed. Just not happy with that initial Liverpool team. Obviously knocked off kilter by Atalanta. But now you've got an angle for the second leg. So that's good. Let's look on today and Friday. Day off for me. Choosing the right day to have a day off. Let's have a quick look at some of these matches. Augsburg and Union Berlin. Well, my rule with Union Berlin, when the market does not speak, they don't turn up. They've got all of their wins is when the markets put them as favourite. Or if they put them as favourite, at least they don't lose. Augsburg, well, they're not all that. Let's have a quick look. 4 wins, a draw and a loss against the Hof for Augsburg recently. Yeah, it wasn't emphatic research, not needed. 7 consecutive under 2.5 goal matches away for Union Berlin might make them tough to beat, at least from Augsburg's perspective. Augsburg have only 1 home loss against 4th and lower. So they're really solid at home. That's gone under the radar a little bit, that. I didn't realise they were so emphatic at home. Irish Premier Division, Irish First Division. Not enough matches played, I'm afraid. And you can see the research is a little pitiful. There's just not enough matches for us to get any patterns. Drogs and Derry favourite here. Second bottom against second top early season. So you've already got a clue as to who's struggling and who's benefiting. Drugs conceding 2+ goals in 4 out of 5 matches against the top 6. Derry's 4 wins came at home. So they're yet to really get stuck in away from home. But Drogheda tend to concede at least 2 goals. Dundalk against St Pat's, 10th against 3rd early season, of course. Failed to score at home, Dundalk. 4 wins for St Pat's, 3 at home. Losses away came against 2nd and 6th. But they've not scored that 2nd goal away. Shelburne against Bowes, 1st against 8th. Unbeaten Shelburne, 0-2 win in the last head-to-head. Already they've had a head-to-head win this season. Bowes have beaten 2nd at home, 3rd away, and 7th away, only 1 draw, so they do have a bit of a bite in them away from home. Shamrock Rovers against Sligo, 5th against 4th, only 3 home matches for Shamrock. 2 score draws and a win, both teams scoring. So that could be a pattern to follow there. But as you can see, there's not enough for us to work with, is there, early season? It's just in-play stats are not at all, really. Too few patterns. The samples are too small for us to get a realistic handle on the Premier Division, First Division. That will change, though, as the leagues transfer, the end of the August to April leagues, the beginning of the summer leagues. Lazio against Salernitana. This should be a banker bet for Lazio. You've got to take points off a side who's already relegated. 11 goals conceded in the last 3 away for Salernitana, but 1-0, 1-0, 1-1 goal scored at home recently for Lazio. So they're not scoring that 2nd goal, Lazio. That could be problematic if Salernitana score today. No draw in 10 plays, no win in 13. So it's poor stuff, really. But lay any late draw in a Lazio match, you really would expect, this is like playing Rotherham in the Championship, you expect 3 points. Excelsior against Volendam, 9 losses and a draw in the last 10 for Excelsior, and their favourite. Oh boy. Draw win for Volendam recently. 4-1-1 draws in 5 away matches suggests fight. So the odds do look a little bit too short for Excelsior, but you're playing relegation dogfight, this one. Both teams have scored in the last 7 away for Volendam, so I would expect that to continue today in what is a pressure match for Volendam. Indeed, it's a relegation 6-pointer, isn't it? So that's it for today. Real Betis and Celta Vigo. Did I cover that? Yes, here it is. 4 consecutive defeats for Betis. Worst form of the season. 3 of them did come away. 2+ goals scored in the last 2 at home. Scored 2+ goals only once against 12th and lower at home, Betis. So that could be problematic. That's probably why it's 2.15 the favourite. So we've got a Celta on the improve. Last 2 defeats for Celta came against Barcelona and Real Madrid. Only 1 win home and away, though, against the top 8. That's a concern. But recent form is good for Celta Vigo. They are 17th, so it could be one of those again where you've got a relegation threatened side overperforming. How many of these have we seen recently? The most recent, Sheffield Wednesday coming from 0-2 down against Norwich to get a 2-2 draw. So do not dismiss these strugglers because they desperately want to stay up in the top flight. One of those matches, we have a home team favoured on seasonal form, but losing 4 consecutive matches and struggling to score that 2nd goal against a bottom half side, albeit not tending to lose. They play a Celta on a charge for points, losing only Barcelona and Real Madrid. So finely poised, this one, isn't it? It's probably why I take Friday off. So it's an interesting Cooper. These odds are not emphatic when you see them. They do give the away side a chance. So it's interesting. Day off for me today. I'll be doing plenty for you tomorrow. I've got a live stream tomorrow on YouTube. I hope you can come along for that as the season ends. And before I go, let's just give a small mention to the tennis. Monte Carlo Masters has started. I have some tennis writings which I'll pass on to you. There's no point me keeping them, is there? I might as well pass them on to you on footballtradingprofits.com. So watch out for that. I'll just get it all organised for you. It's all my writings. You know my deal with tennis and football. It's simple, reacting. Do read these previews. Now, I don't think there's a... Oh no, it's Soccerway, isn't it? That gives a clue. Ha! I wondered if they had a sister tennis website. UK.tennisway. Let's try that. A bit of old Miss Marple. A bit like Tennis 24 and Soccer 24. No. Okay. I think they have their own website, tennis24.com. So do follow that. Do read these previews as well. They are quite superb. So if I have a look at yesterday, if you want to retrospectively trade, well, this is the way to do it. Now, this looks like it's the first of 2 sets, so you have to get that one sorted out. Grand Slams, 3 sets in the men's game. What I like to look at, well, if a fellow country person, him, her, they, them, there, zia, zia, etc., etc. Let's call them men, eh? Come on. If 2 men are playing each other from the same country, that could also engender some interest. You can see here Karen Khachanov beating Daniil Medvedev, both from the same country. Both will know each other's game quite well. That's where you can sniff out some potential surprises. So any plays yesterday, well, that could have been a potential one, couldn't it? Look at the fight from Medvedev's second set. It's like a goal. It's like the underdog scoring the first goal. Khachanov scoring the first penalty. But you've got to be careful when they're from the same country, these teams, players, because they know each other. Grigor Dimitrov, no problem. Odds on. No problem there. I don't know why this was a... Yeah. Oh, he lost the second set. Nagel. Tsitsipas against Zverev. You'll see with the odds. 1.8 the favourite suggests this could go to 3 sets, or at least could be a tight one. But did at any stage Zverev lead that second set? Because that's what you're looking for as a trader. If you're taking on the first set winner, you're looking for the second set for him to be leading at some point, or at least have had a couple of breaks. But it all went the way of the serve, didn't it, throughout? And then right at the end, he lost his serve. So at no stage did the man set down, Zverev, lead in that second. Oh, we didn't look at the second set, 7-6. I think this would have been a tiebreaker, wouldn't it? So let's go again, point by point. Set 2. Well, 2-5. What a comeback. Wow. 2-5 to Tsitsipas. So there, you could have arguably got involved. He's already leading a set. And he's 2-5 up. You might as well lay him. It's like laying a 1-0 lead in the 89th minute. Highly likely to pull it off, but you could get a fight back. Don't forget who he's playing. World number 5. So that's the kind of angle I'd look at. That would have been an interesting play. Even though you'd have lost, you'd have still got that odd swing. Laying Tsitsipas 5-2 up in the second set. And Zverev must get something out of it, which indeed he did with that fight back. Novak Djokovic, there's very little you can do with Novak. He tends to oblige. This is what you're after. The first set is won by the underdog and in a tiebreaker. That's important because it means that Dimitrov was not overwhelmed. It was a tight one. It's not one-way traffic. Cue the comeback. Second set, that's your odds swing. So you'd have got a decent one for Tsitsipas, decent one for Rune. And this is a good way to practice tennis trading. Just look at yesterday's scores. Look at the odds. You can't read yesterday's previews, alas, to give an idea. I would recommend reading these previews because they might give you a hint as to previous injuries for some players. That kind of thing. 1.07, job done. That's what you expect. It's like a 1.2 favourite in the football. You expect 2-0, 3-0, any other away score. You're expecting a win 2-0. Casper Ruud as well. And this is what you're after again. This was a tight enough first set. Went all the way to 7-5. Not a tiebreaker like this one. This is more emphatically tight. But again, it's a good handle if you fancy Humbert. And I would also recommend you look at the ATP rankings as well. 57 to 15. It gives you an idea, like the FIFA World ranking points for international football. It gives you a gauge to work off. The women's game, I don't really like it, to be honest. A bit like women's football. I find it very tough. But they haven't started yet, the ladies. Or have they? No, they haven't started yet. It's a lot more difficult for me, ladies tennis, because they've got that famous inability to serve consistently. Quite a lot of these players. This is the Billie Jean World Cup. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But you've got the odds as an initial cue. What we don't have is those previews. So that could give you a handle as well into which battles to choose. Choose ones where you get the most details and someone's already done the heavy lifting for you. Go to the very bottom probably for the conclusion, or the head-to-head as well. So that's how I would attack tennis. If you're new to tennis, work on previous results and ask yourself, what would I have done? So give yourself a checklist. ATP rankings, get to know the ATP rankings. The difference between the players. 11th against 26 is an obvious play, even though he's got a Hitler haircut. He's still top 11. That gives you your initial gauge. So when 11th in the world concedes the first set, it's like Man United against Fulham. If Fulham scores the first goal, you've got a chance of a recovery. You get far better odds. You're not going to get your huge odds that you could get in a football, like we could have backed Heidenheim at 200s, couldn't we? I know I've never mentioned that before, apart from the 700 other occasions I've mentioned it. I'm still having nightmares about that, by the way. Waking up, having laid Bayern Munich and not backed Heidenheim, and Heidenheim win 3-2. I just keep waking up in cold sweats. Oh. So here again, your initial cue, 17th against 22nd. So you can infer that this will be a tight one in the rankings. You can go in depth in tennis. This is what I'll do for members only at footballtradingprofits.com. I'll put all of my tennis stuff together so you can have a good read of it. Some of it might be outdated, i.e. players who have retired, but using them as examples is excellent. I hope you'll gain something from it. So I'll work on that today for you. So you've got your initial look, odds. This might have been a surprise. Do watch out for medical timeouts as well. 6th in the world, losing 2-0. Now, has he had a recent injury? You might want to just do some detective work. Rublev injury. March the 6th. I don't. This is the Buddhist year, so I'm not sure. I haven't time travelled. So that's an initial look at tennis. I'll go in far more in depth into it for you. I'll find my writings, put them into some kind of an order, and post them up at Football Trading Profits for you. Have a great Friday. Do have a look at the tennis, and I'll see you again tomorrow.